Hi, welcome back. As you can tell, we're not in my kitchen today. We're outside. We're gonna do our first garden tour. I know I've been missing for a few weeks. It's just been a really busy time getting everything planted. So I'm gonna turn it around and we're gonna look at the garden. But just remember, this is real life. Everything is not gonna be perfectly weeded or anything like that. But that's okay. We're still gonna have fun. So join me. Let's turn this around. So I just wanted to add a little bit of background information. We live in a neighborhood on about a third of an acre, and my garden is spread out a little bit all over the yard because my husband didn't want, because we rent, so my husband didn't want to just dig up a big space in the backyard. So over the years it's went from 2 4 foot by 6 foot spaces to everywhere. And it seems like I always add a little something every year. So let's start right up here. This is right up by the house, right outside my door. Some of the things are not up yet, so you will see some things up and looking great, and other things it may not look like much or anything at all. So of course up here is our tomatoes, some of our tomatoes, and the tomatoes go all along the fence on both sides. We have an L-shaped, well actually it's more of a J-shaped bed up by the house. I believe it was 106 feet, and then our other bed on the other side is more of a U, and I believe it was 86 feet when I measured it out. So it's just a 4 or a 3 foot wide bed that goes around our patio. I've got some, can you see the little basil babies down there? We have some dark opal basil, and there's some carrots in there, and there's also a ton of marigolds popping up. And if you look really closely, I took some herbs and I just dumped the seed packets all over, and there is a little bit of baby grass in there too, but there's so many herbs I don't want to pull up the grass until the herbs get big enough to tell what they are, because I mean they're literally, see all that green? That's all herbs that I dumped. And I don't know what they are. I just figured the earth wants to be covered, correct? So let's cover her. Sorry about the bad focus on the camera. It's kind of a weird lighting, so I don't know how the camera is going to do for me. You might get some fuzzy shots. I will do my best. So again, the tomatoes, and unfortunately, when I was planting the tomatoes, I had all of my tags written out. Has anybody ever done this? You go and you dig holes, and you lay all your tomatoes in the holes, and you just start burying them, and you realize that you have no idea what you just put in the ground, so you can't mark them because you screwed them all up. So this is going to be a mix. I know I will show you at the end of the videos the varieties that I started. And another unfortunate thing happened that I will share with you in a few minutes. But let's take a closer look at these tomatoes. They're awesome. And I was pruning. They're probably about 2 feet tall, some of them maybe a little taller. And so I'm pruning along, tomato, tomato, tomato. Not a tomato. My first thought was potato, but then I'm thinking no, because I did have some tomatillo plants, and I thought they all died, so I dumped them out, and I actually found another one alive too, but apparently this tomatillo made it, and it is thriving amongst the tomatoes. So I'm very excited because I've never grown tomatillos before. I've always wanted to try them, but I'm glad it's just one plant and not a lot. I did only start 3, so 2 of the 3 survived. One is very scrawny because it was also in with the tomatoes, but it was kind of jammed. I don't really know how it wound up, but it was stuck between 2 large tomato plants, and it was very scrawny, so I moved him. And this here is all Genovese basil. So we have dark opal basil, Genovese basil, and there are some random tomatoes that reseeded. And there's a story behind that. So last year, at the end of the season, I decided to throw all my tomato plants in the compost. I do that every year, and every year there are some green tomatoes on them, but usually it stays warm enough that the compost gets really hot and it kills all those seeds. Last year, that did not happen apparently, because I dug up my compost, spread it all around, and I kid you not, I had 200 volunteer tomato plants. And I couldn't kill them. I just couldn't kill them. So yeah, I dug them all up. And I gave them away. And I did stick some in the ground here because the people that were supposed to come get them never did, and they were starting to really suffer from being in the cups. So I just thought, well, I really don't need them because I already have 68 tomato plants, which is enough for what I want to do. But I threw them in, and I'm pretty sure that a few of these are cherry tomatoes, which I forgot to start this year, so that works out. And then right down here in front of me, I took some soup beans that you like, dry beans you buy at the grocery store, and I just threw them in the ground just to see what would happen. And it was like a 16 bean soup bag, so these are all just different random beans. And then all the green you see, well, some of it's grass, but most of it is, again, some herbs that I just sprinkled everywhere. This one, I believe, is tarragon. Right here is tarragon. And we just have all kinds of stuff. And like I said, you may see a random little tomato in there. More beans and weeds. And then my neighbor girl wanted to grow her own tomatoes, so that's why this one is over here by itself in a special cage, so she knows that's her tomato. And then along the fence line there, that is some peppers. We have red Marconi peppers, the large red ones. We have regular yellow and orange, and then down here is a jalapeno. And there is the little tomatillo that was doing terribly, but I was able to bring it back. It's already doubled in size from what it was, so it's pretty little, but I think it's going to do just fine. So let's move over to the U. All right, I wanted to kind of give you a perspective of the bed. So this side over here is mostly weeds because I'm going to put some more beans in there, so I just haven't gotten that part weeded out yet. But there are tomatoes along this fence all the way around as well, except for along the walkway here. I didn't want tomatoes on both sides of the walkway. Last year we lost our walkway because tomato plants fell over. So let's move over here, and right here we have beans. These are green beans and yellow beans and purple potted beans. So, and the beans go all the way. They were supposed to go all the way around, and I planted them all the way around, but for whatever reason, these ones here, I don't think I remembered to soak those beans, so they never came up. But I'm going to replant that whole side with beans because I want to can some beans this year. Now, right here, I put some carrots in. Now, I live in the South, so I don't know if the carrots will do anything. I just thought, if you don't try, you won't know. So I'm just going to give it a chance. And then we have, this is kale. And I'll tell you the variety when we get down there. But very, very little teeny tiny kale babies are popping up today. And then these are just some more random tomatoes. Just random tomatoes. And I know you can't see the kale babies because of the grass, the little bitty bits of grass that are growing, but they're there. I can see them. And down here, I see a spot where I got pretty heavy on the seed. Oh, I don't think it's going to show up, but there's a whole bunch of little kale babies right there. And then more tomatoes. Whoops. Like I said, this is a U-shaped bed. And the tomatoes start here and go all the way around. And then down on this part right here, you can't see anything, there's nothing to show yet, are beets. They're just a bunch, I think it's like a variety pack. Yeah. So it's this assorted beet mix from M.I. Gardner. All my seeds have came from M.I. Gardner. Well, I think the majority of them. Actually, some of them I did buy at Walmart. I forgot because some of my seeds didn't come up. But it wasn't the seed brand's fault. It was totally user error. Okay, let's move out to the next part of the garden. This circle here, we had a swimming pool a few years ago, but the kids got too big and lost interest in it. So we went ahead and got rid of that, and I took it over as a garden bed. Yes, it's full of a lot of grass, but I am going to fill the walkways with grass clippings to kill back fat grass. And you'll say, well, that's just making more grass. It works, you know, it works for me. That's what I do. I don't have access. I could get wood chips probably, but then that's a lot of work. And the grass is lighter and easier on my back. So as we move in, these right here, I just threw down a random pumpkin mix that I have. I like to just throw squash and stuff in wherever I can. I love to grow them. So these here, right here in front, I know are yellow squash and zucchinis. I wanted them on this side. Oh, whoops. Here is definitely not a yellow squash or a zucchini because it's starting to vine out and I see a runner. So that one is in the wrong spot. That's okay. No worries. We'll eat it. And if you look, my fencing has an opening here, and that is so I can come and go, but also I don't want my pumpkins to grow together because over there is another pumpkin bed and squash bed, and I don't want these two to climb together and then we're not able to mow in between. So I left this open so the pumpkins can crawl out this way. And behind me is a larger trellis or larger fence, and that is my trellis for my cucumbers. Now here on the end, this was supposed to be a yard-long cucumber, but it's shaping up to be more like a squash. But then here, that's a cucumber. That's a cucumber. This one, I believe, is a white patty pan squash, and I wanted it to grow up the trellis. And then this one volunteered, so I'm not sure what that one is. Oh, and this, the birds use that one as their toilet, but that's another cucumber. There's some yard-long cucumbers that just popped up, so probably dig those up and spread them out a little bit. This is another one that I'm not sure what it is. It's another volunteer. And then we got some more cucumbers here. And then over here we got some more, and there's a lot of weeds, so it's hard to see, but this is a little cucumber. This I think is a melon. I'm not 100% sure. It came up on its own. And there is another little cucumber. So next we're going to move over alongside the garage, and I'll show you what's growing over there. All right, first of all, let's start in the bed that runs along. Let me show you. This bed runs the length, and I was going to have it around the back, but I haven't decided if I'm going to finish that out with flowers yet or not. So as of right now, it just runs along the side. And then down in here are a whole bunch of different kinds of flowers, a lot of zinnias, and then I planted some dahlias and a new one that I've never seen. I will show you. Oh, and there's marigolds right here, marigold babies. Am I showing you? Right there. And so there's marigolds. There's just all kinds of flowers in here. So this is the first time I've grown flowers like this. And there is, it's called a gazania. I have no idea. I'm excited though. Look how pretty those are. So yeah, that's exciting. So all kinds of flowers down in there and a little bit of grass, but I'll just yank that grass out. I want the flowers to get just a bit bigger first. All the way down. And then here in the middle, of course, grass, but that's going to be taken care of in the next day or two. But right here, that is another pumpkin mix. So like I said, I like to just dump them out and see what grows. And last year we had, I think, about 4 sunflowers, and I thought we harvested all the seeds, but the birds, you know, they knock them down. And so when I was coming out spreading my compost, I noticed these plants about this big, barely off the ground, and I thought, are those sunflowers? And I let them grow, and that's what it is. And there's just like 20 of them in that little patch. And sunflowers and pumpkins, I found, grow really well I can't talk. well together. Yeah, please excuse me as I trip over my words. So now we have 1 space left. Another U. And down in there is a bunch of little bitty pumpkins and gourds. On this end there's a lot of gourds because I dumped in a gourd mix, and I don't have the markers out here apparently. Oh, and we have 2 kinds of sunflowers. We have the Velvet Queen and then a summertime sunflower mix. And those haven't sprouted yet. I've noticed that there are some coming, and they'll be up very, very soon. Whoops, I'm showing you the grass. Lots and lots of... This one here I found hiding in the big pumpkins, and it wasn't growing. So I just scooped it up and stuck it over here with the smaller ones. And then all the way down. Some of these, like I said, I'll go over the seed packets and varieties at the end of the video of the things that are growing in the garden. Oh, and I did tell you that second bed of tomatoes, when I first put it out, let me turn you around. The rain has passed. I almost forgot to share with you the front of the house. So we had bushes that were here when we moved in, but they got diseased and died. So we went ahead and I just decided to fill this area really, really, really tightly with sunflowers. So there's just a whole bunch of them. These are just a sunflower mix, some yellow, some purple, some red. And the littler ones are pygmy sunflowers, and they're already getting a sunflower head. So that's exciting. Now these won't get huge because they're planted really, really close together. Like some of them are just 2 to 3 inches apart. I wanted to do cut sunflowers, and then there's a few random squashes. I just threw my decorations from last fall into the garden beds, see what happened. And we did have some volunteers that came up. And then this is right in front of my front porch, and that is all mint. And maybe some random dandelions. But a few years ago, I bought some mint from the grocery store, just in the grocery section, and threw it in the ground. And it, you know, it's small. It's just like 1 shoot, like that one there in front. That's all it started out as, you know. And then it has just filled in. I want to say that's probably about a 5 foot, maybe 6 foot space, and it's just filled in. And I've already harvested it right down to the ground once, and it's almost ready for me to do it again. And we dried it and put it up for tea. And on the other side of the front porch, again, I just threw some random squashes that I grew last year in the bed. And then right down here underneath of that mesh is some sunflowers, but I had to protect them from the birds. So that is the front garden. I'm going to not show my address, but just give you an idea of how it looks. All right, that's better. So that second bed of tomatoes, when I put it out, unfortunately, something mowed them down. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So I stole some of those, or not stole, but utilized some of those random volunteer tomatoes that were around the garden and just went ahead, because I'm like, a tomato's a tomato. Even if they're cherries, they can still be used for something. Because a lot of times, as you know, if you grow cherry tomatoes, they tend to be really prolific and they come back. But as they're getting larger, I don't think they are. They don't look like cherry tomato plants to me. Only time will tell. And I think we're about to get rained on. And it's getting really, really dark. So I'm going to wrap this part up. And as I said, I'll go inside, grab the seed packets, and we'll look at what we planted this year. And I'm so excited to take you along with me during this gardening season. Tell me what you're growing down in the comments and share pictures if you want. I'd love to see that. So have a great day, and I'll see you inside.